Welcome to Build Better Teams, the podcast for leaders who want to improve collaboration, strengthen communication, and create real alignment inside their teams. Here we explore team building strategies, leadership development, and hands-on approaches like Lego Serious Play that help teams think, build, and solve problems together. Let's get started so you can lead more effective, aligned, and engaged organizations. Welcome back to the Build Better Teams podcast. I am your host, Shannon Russell. I'm a strategic leadership and team facilitator and the founder of Build Better Teams Consulting. Today, I'm joined by Lindsay White. She is the founder of High Voltage Leadership. Lindsay has spent more than 2 decades working in HR, people strategy, and leadership development, helping founders and high-performing teams build healthier cultures, stronger leadership, and sustainable growth. Her work is centered around helping leaders stop trying to do everything themselves and instead create teams and systems that actually support the business and the person behind it. In this conversation, we're diving into leadership, hiring, team culture, founder burnout, and what it really takes to build a business and team that works for you, not the other way around. Here's my conversation with Lindsay White of High Voltage Leadership. Lindsay White, welcome to Build Better Teams. I'm excited to have you here as my first guest on this podcast.
I know. I'm so pumped. Thanks for having me.
You're the first person that came to mind because you are all about HR, leadership, building these perfect teams and really helping founders get a grasp on all of the things that they need to do. Why don't you start with just introducing us to who you are and what you do in the world?
I am a fractional chief people officer. I'm an HR expert. I've been in the business for 20 years, and my methodology includes leadership, people strategy, and culture. So you're right, Shannon. It is all about creating high-performing teams and high-performing leaders.
And it's not easy to do. And you've seen it from the HR side when you were
Yes.
working back in corporate and now creating them and really being that backbone for a lot of your clients to help them move forward in the best way.
Yes.
And I love that you say CEO does not stand for Chief Everything Officer. And I love
Yeah.
that from you. Tell
Yeah.
me about that and why it is important when you're the CEO or any manager or leader to have that support in order to build a team and great culture.
I work with a lot of small businesses and entrepreneurs. And so often my clients, as the CEO and founder of their business, they are the expert. They have built this thing out of nothing, which as an entrepreneur, you and I get. Like it is so important to us. We're so passionate about it. The problem is as we start to scale and grow our businesses and our teams, it can become really challenging to step out of the work we love, the work we're exceptional at, the work we're passionate about, and actually create the team to support the ongoing and scalable version of the business. And that can be really challenging for the leader, for the business owner, and for the team members, because you don't want to anger your boss. They're the expert. You also want some ownership and accountability that's just your own. And that can become a real push and pull inside a growing business.
It is your baby, and you and I have both
Yeah.
experienced this. It's hard to delegate. It's hard to
Yes.
really step back and manage the business instead of working inside of it.
It is. Yeah, it's really about leading the people instead of managing the task. And that becomes a challenge. There's really no playbook for that. There's all sorts of books on the shelves about leadership, but it really is about how do you personalize that and how does that work in your business? Because every single one of them is so different. And so that can be really challenging. And in order to build a better team, there's really individual work we have to do as founders and the most senior leader in our business in order to empower that team to really deliver for us.
I see that, and I see that a lot of founders can struggle with that. So,
Yeah.
what do you think separates founders who can build these sustainable teams from those who really stay stuck in that overwhelm?
I think that's a great question. So there's a couple things. First of all, when I see founders that are able to actually embrace being the actual CEO instead of being that chief everything officer, they really have done some internal work. They have self-reflected and really deeply, first of all, understand who are they as a leader and what does that mean to them?
Yeah.
And then they are also able to use some empathy and some EQ, right? That emotional intelligence to really put themselves in their team shoes. What does the team need in order to be successful? And they're able to really ponder the question. And I think that that's so critical. Do they need me actually involved in the tasks, in the delivery, in the execution? Or do they need my coaching? Do they need my inspiration? Do they need my vision
Mhm.
in order to deliver? I've hired experts here. I think I've got a team that's really smart and really capable. Okay, what does that team need in order to grow themselves, but also to grow my business and ultimately to deliver for my clients?
That's so well put. Taking yourself out of the equation and
Yes,
building that team and stepping back and maybe being the face and the visionary, have them check in with you, right? That's kind of what everyone wants, but it's hard to take the steps to get there, I think, for
it
some people.
is. It really is. And so I think the other side of the coin is what's the system? Delegation is one thing. We hear that a lot as business owners. We need to
Yeah.
delegate. But what is the system we need in order to still feel connected to the work, to still feel like we have the information and the data? So designing the communication in a way that really makes sense. And that could be everything from a digital dashboard. It could be using a tool as the project management piece to really see what people are doing. It could be as simple as having a Monday stand up to sort of set the tone, and then a Friday checkout to see where the deliverables are at, and really having regular one-on-ones with your people so that you know not only what are they working on, where are they encountering roadblocks, where can you be of service, but also where are they achieving, and really celebrating where things are actually moving so that your team feels that momentum, but they also feel the support.
And what are some early warning signs, I guess, for leaders who are overstepping too much?
So I think that there's some very simple things. First of all, if you're in a one-on-one meeting and you're doing more of the talking than they are, I think that's a pretty good sign that you need to back away a little bit,
Mm.
right? These one-on-one conversations should be about them talking to you. What's going well? What's tricky or difficult? Where's the roadblock? What support did they need, or what decisions are they considering? What are the options? And then you enter the conversation. I think the other thing is pay attention to some body language. How are they showing up for you? Right? So this is listening. And I think that is such an underrated leadership skill. We don't use it nearly enough. You need to close your mouth and open your ears
Yeah.
and pay attention. Get out of your own way. So, those are some real simple cues. I think
Mhm.
also when you notice that your Slack channel is constantly going and everything has a question mark at it, I think when people are saying to you, like, I can't make this decision without you, when it really starts to feel like all your day is firefighting, you're just putting out one situation after another, you're solving one problem after another. Those are really high level indications that you actually have made yourself the bottleneck, whether you intended to or not.
And is that when you get the phone call and you get someone who says, Lindsay, I need your help to figure out how to take that step back and make them more self sufficient?
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, as much as I love to work with clients in a strategic way upfront, it is often when I get the phone call from the founder who says to me, generally, number one is my team's not performing and we're not delivering. We're missing some deadlines. Our clients are not satisfied. The business isn't growing the way it should be.
Yeah.
I will also get calls from, founders that say to me, I'm so overwhelmed. I feel underwater. There's not enough hours in the day. I'm missing the soccer game or the band concert, or I haven't seen daylight in 2 weeks, right? We're coming up to summer here. I don't feel like I can go on vacation and be on the beach and be present with my family. So, those are sort of the two conversations that I get often when people are really feeling like something's not working, but they're unclear as to what it is and certainly unclear as to how to fix it.
So then I guess the question would be, when you are a founder and you find yourself that this business has really taken off, you need to hire. Who do you hire first? Who is
Yeah.
that important right hand person that you need to start stepping back a little bit?
we can recognize when that becomes a necessity. The team or myself, we can't seem to deliver everything. My best advice is to pause and actually think about, okay, first of all, what am I doing? What do I love doing? What if I died tomorrow? I would never do it. Like I die happy if I never had to do that again. And then somewhere in the middle of that is, what do I have to do? We all have those things that maybe we don't love, but as the founder, it's incumbent upon us to do it. And then think about, who do I have on the team right now? Who's on the bench? What are they doing? What do they do really well? What's something that doesn't seem to be working? Analyze who you've got and where their strengths live. Then you can start to think about, okay, what are the pieces that no longer fit with my role or with their roles? How are we going to resource those? That is the strategic way to think about adding complement to your team. That's strategic talent management. Now, we do that a lot in corporate. We don't think about that in our small businesses,
Mm-mm.
especially as they're growing because it's so busy. But
Yeah.
then what we can do is, first of all, we can design a role that has real meaning. It's got real teeth. It's going to make real impact and deliver ROI.
Hmm.
Then we can start to identify, okay, who's going to be the right fit in this role? Not just skills and experience, but also what do they need to be able to do? How are they going to work? Who are they? And how are they going to fit with the team? Then we can actually go and recruit the right person with the right skill set, the right competencies, and even more importantly, the right attitude.
Attitude is everything. As you're hiring someone for small business, you need someone who's able to do a lot more maybe than in corporate where there might be 20, 30 people on your
Yes.
team. So,
Yes.
is that a mistake that sometimes you see founders make in hiring someone who just wants to do one thing and maybe isn't so much a team player?
Yeah, it certainly can be, right? If we get too specific, we don't have someone who has the ability with the transferable skills or the ability to be flexible. So that
Mm.
might be something you want to include. I also, on the other side, I see a lot of business owners that come to me and they've got a laundry list of things. They want someone to be a bookkeeper and a graphic designer and a podcast editor.
Yeah.
Unicorns don't exist, my friends. That's not realistic. That's three different jobs. Now, you don't have to hire each one of them full time permanent. What you might want to do is consider hiring an expert consultant. So, for example, the bookkeeping, right? That actually is really important in your business, especially as it's scaling and the volume increases. Maybe you're dealing with multiple currencies. Maybe it starts to get a little complicated. You do want someone who is an expert because
Yeah.
you can get yourself in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Okay, but maybe you only need 10 hours a month. Cool. Find someone who can do that. Then maybe you want to find someone who can help you with your marketing and branding and has a background in design. Those skill sets fit together, they make sense.
Mm.
That's the important part is we can't just lump a bunch of diametrically opposite skill sets together and think that we're going to find someone who can deliver in all those spaces. The truth is, if they say they can, they're either overestimating their skills or they're flat out lying to you. It's not going to work.
And it's scary too because you're looking at, okay, 3 salaries compared
Yes.
to just having a consultant for those 10 hours. It makes so
Yes.
much sense to just, again, take that
Yes.
pause, like you said, and just really assess your needs.
Yes.
Why do you think that burnout has become so common? And I don't really love that word necessarily, but,
Yeah.
founders find themselves, wow, scaling's great. And then all of a sudden, they're just wanting to sell. Wanting to close
Yes. The
shop.
close up shop.
Why? Why? Why?
Geez,
Why?
and I mean, Shannon, you and I, we have encountered lots of this founders that just burn their business to the ground because they're
Yeah.
so overwhelmed. I got to say, that breaks my heart. If that's where you're at, call me because I want to help you.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Just pause, take a breath.
Yeah.
That's space of burnout. And I mean, you and I have been there. We have had nose on the glass, pressed right up, staring down the barrel of burnout.
Yeah.
And it's tricky. I think part of it is grounded in that message that we need to scale to 6 figures and 7 figures and beyond. And we constantly have to be scaling and growing. That does not need to happen in huge increments.
Yeah.
It is okay. Most businesses, big or small, only grow between 3 and 5% a year. If you're doing that or a little bit better, you are on track. So this
Mhm.
constant message that we need to grow, we need to have 50, 60, $80,000 months. My goodness, that is really a high level objective and you'll get there. So that's number one. Scale in a way that is sustainable for you, for your team, for your clients. Okay. The second part is I do think that as business owners, it is so easy for us to get hyper involved in our businesses. You said it. They are our life's work, blood, sweat, tears, and most of our life savings into these things, Shannon, right?
Yes, absolutely.
We have a lot on the line, not to mention our own self worth,
Mhm.
the reflection of who we are, that is so deeply intertwined. And let me tell you, I feel that. My business is important to me like that too, Shannon. I know yours is to you, right?
Yes.
What happens though is we hyper achieve, we overwork it. There's nothing wrong with being brilliant and excellent at what you do. First and foremost, it's never going to be perfect. We need to stop trying to achieve perfection. It is not available.
No.
What is available though is excellence. We can be really good. And actually, I believe our first job is to grow other people, grow other leaders. So if we really put that front and center, that our job isn't to do it all, it is to lead it all.
Mhm.
That helps us shift our vision of what our business is, especially when it's growing. And it really helps us understand why are we so close to the space of burnout so that we can, again, self reflect. Hang on a second. What's really important to me? The business is important. Maybe my family is too. And what about my health?
Yes.
Because that's one of the first things that gets thrown under the bus when our businesses start to grow.
Lindsay, you're so right. And if you think about it, when you start to feel that pressure and that overwhelm as the leader, as the founder, then that spreads to the team. And so
Yes.
that's a great leadway into really what builds that company culture that is long lasting. What do you see in working with a ton of different teams? What is a healthy workplace culture and how do we achieve that?
Very broad question, but a really good one. And one that we don't think often enough about in our small and growing businesses is culture. And the
Yeah.
truth is, the old saying, culture eats strategy for breakfast. You can have the best strategy in the world. It's not worth the paper it's written on if you don't have a healthy work environment where people feel like they are seen, heard, valued, and respected for the work they do. So there are a couple things. First of all, what are your values? And I mean, what are your personal values? What do you
Mhm.
care about? Because those are going to reflect in your business. Now, the way we define them might look different. For example, integrity. Many of us, most of us have a value of integrity. Generally, that means doing the right thing when nobody's watching. That's a personal value. In our business, it means doing the right thing even when it's not profitable
Hmm.
because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Not only do we need to define that, we need to speak clearly about that to our team. Our values are foundational in our culture. Okay. So that they can see themselves in that value. How do they see that definition? How is that meaningful for them? We need to be real clear about our vision and mission.
Yeah.
That's one of our jobs as the CEO is to actually enroll and engage others in that vision and mission and help them connect the dots. So maybe they do something that's very tactical every day. We need to help them see how that tactical item actually enhances and grows that vision. It's very deeply and intrinsically motivating for people. And then we need to practice what we preach. If you want to have an open door policy, you better make sure your door or your chat or your Slack is open. And again, you're ready to close your mouth and open your ears and listen deeply. Take the feedback. And that is absolutely critical. Your team has important data for you. They are working directly with your clients, your vendors, your product, your service. They know and you need to listen to them. Just because you have expertise does not mean that they can't add value. And
Right.
I think when we show up that way, when we set the table for open conversations, for real dialogue, for conversations, for curiosity, right? Ted Lasso, be curious, not judgmental.
Yeah.
When we're clear with our feedback, here's what you're doing well. Here's what's actually tricky or not working. Let's talk about how we can shift that or what we can do next time. That creates a culture where people feel safe, they feel constructive, they feel respected, heard, and they feel like they can deliver work that has impact. And that's really why we show up to work every day, is to have an impact.
Team culture. My
Yes.
opinions, my expertise, my skills are
Yes.
valuable.
Yes.
And so often I feel like, and I talk about here on the podcast too, is that there's usually one or two people that are the loudest and they get heard. And the other people who have talents just stay quiet because they're
Yes.
used to that being the dominant factor. That's why I talk about Lego Serious Play on here so
Yes.
much, because it's forcing everyone to
Yes.
bring their skills to the table. And I'm sure you
100%.
see that, especially with the teams that you're working with, that there might be someone who's really valuable. And with a small team, excluding one or two is not the way to go.
No, I will tell you a very personal story. So I'm very much an extrovert. Shannon, you and I have been business friends for a while. You know this.
Yes.
And in a team, this is several years ago, I worked with some people that were on the introverted side. So very much back of the room, quite a bit more quiet. And I had my leader come to me and give me really great feedback. Hey, I love all your ideas. You are all in all the time. What's tricky is it sometimes doesn't leave space for others to contribute in a meaningful way. What I'd like you to try is actually just holding on to your idea for a moment. Give the room some space. Let the silence be okay. And let's see if some of these other people can bring their ideas to the table, because I think they've got good things to say too. Now, was that difficult for me to hear? 10%. I didn't want to feel like I was taking up all the oxygen
No.
in the room. That was never my point. I was there and I was all in with the team, but I needed to self manage and allow others into the space. And I think that that is so key, not just in our teams. Again, as the leader, as the founder, as the CEO, if we are always the one talking, we are missing out on really great information and data. We need to step back. We need to allow our team to be together and to co-create without us in the middle.
Lindsay, thank you for sharing that story. And I think you just gave another great example of how to bring that feedback, like your
Yes.
boss, your manager did to you,
Yes.
in such a positive way. We
Yes.
love your ideas. Can you just hold them? Let's see if
Yes.
anyone speaks up first. That
Yes.
is almost a compliment to you in the same way as it is a suggestion.
100%.
Yeah.
And this, honestly, I preach this all the time. Great feedback is key.
Yeah.
As the most senior leader in our business, we need to be able to deliver it. We also need to be able to receive it.
Yeah.
We need our team to come to us and say, this isn't working. This is a tricky, this is a roadblock. We need to be able to receive it, and we need to do that with grace and style.
And your team members will see that and they'll
Yes.
not fear having a meeting with you or fear what
Exactly.
you're going to say or email next. Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah.
What is one thing that you wish leaders or anyone who is listening to this can take with them tomorrow to really build a better team?
It's such a great question. I mean, I think we've talked about a few things here.
Yeah.
I think the very first thing we can do as a leader is actually start asking better questions,
Hmm.
right? Open ended with real curiosity behind it. People can feel that, right? Like
Yeah.
we are very finely attuned to each other, whether we're working together in an office day to day or we're online. People can feel when you show up with real curiosity. So that's number one. Ask those great questions. Use your ears and your mouth in the proportion they exist on your face. Let the silence do the heavy lifting, right? Even
Yeah.
if people don't respond immediately, just give it a beat and let them think and come back to you. I think that's one of the first things we can do. That really opens the dialogue. I think what we can do is give people some agency. Hey, I trust you with this. Come to me with questions. What I'd love to hear is options, what you're considering.
Mhm.
And then if you're really stuck, let's work on it together
Yeah.
and start with what do you think or what's your gut telling you? Get them to go first. You don't always have to be the smartest kid in the room, my friends. It's okay, right? Again, we have to self-manage because we're just used to being all that in a bag of chips. But if you want to build a great team, it can't be all about you all the time. One of the other important things is you got to show up in the way you want other people to show up. So if you want them to take accountability, and I hear this a lot, oh, my team doesn't take accountability. What do you need to take accountability for? Man, when I ask that of owners, they get their back up a little bit. But I'm like, wait a minute. They are emulating our behavior. So what is it you need to take accountability for? And it's okay for us to say, hey, you know what? I made that choice. It wasn't the best decision in the world. Let's talk about it. We can add just a touch of vulnerability and realness to our conversations. Those are things that are going to underpin our culture.
Mm,
Culture is just simply how we do work together,
right.
right? And if you want people to work together in a positive, constructive, curious way, man, you got to lead the charge on that.
Communication, agency,
Yes.
all of that. It's
All of that.
absolutely true because at the end of the day, you don't want people to leave. That is just more work for you and more stress. And just to create that team that's going to be with you and support you.
100%. You've hired them on purpose. You saw value in them and you believe in their skills and experience and their ability to deliver. So, my friend, if you're listening and you're a business owner and you're feeling like, wow, my team's not jiving right, like the vibe is off, as the kids say, you need to pause and take a look inward first.
Lindsay, you have given us so much to think about, so much great stuff. I want to know where our listeners can find you, listen to you. I know you have your own podcast. You have so much going on. So, where can everyone connect with you and learn more?
Thank you for asking. So, first and foremost, highvoltageleadership.ca is my website. You can also find me on Instagram and it's at High Volt Leadership. I'm on LinkedIn, Lindsay White. Come and find me. I love to connect. And then, of course, the podcast, Female Founder Unplugged, because I work with a lot of female entrepreneurs and I love to talk about leadership, people strategy, culture, and how we can leverage those to scale our business sustainably in a way that feels great for everybody.
I love that. I'm going to link to everything. And if anyone needs help building that team, Lindsay is your girl. And I thank you, my friend. Thank you for being here and for all the wisdom that you shared. I'm so excited for this. Thank you.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. I could talk to you about this all day, Shannon.
We really could. Thank you. I want to thank you for listening to the Build Better Teams podcast. I am your host, Shannon Russell, and I will be back with another new episode very soon. Make it a great day.